Hey everyone, my name is Victoria Gaisley and this is my studio bunny Alfred, and welcome to this month's studio talk in which we're talking from our studio in what was a very sunny June in Scotland, but on the last day we're having a little bit of a downpour, but at least my garden's getting watered. Cool. So I cannot believe we are halfway through the year already, and that has been so long since my last studio talk. Life has been pretty busy this year for a multitude of reasons, not to mention the completion and deinstall of Artists at Work 2 at the beginning of the year. That was a while ago now, but I do want to take this opportunity to thank everybody who attended the exhibition, whether they've seen it in person or virtually. Behind the scenes, we're reviewing the success of the show and using it to ensure that Arts at Work is a regular feature on the National Galleries of Scotland's public programme. For those who did not see the show in person, you can still see the online version on the National Galleries of Scotland website. I'll post the link in the comments below. In this month's studio talk, I will be discussing my latest trip to Barcelona and its inspirations, as well as my current project I'm putting together with artists in Musselburgh to create an open studio event. So first we'll talk about my visit to Barcelona. I have to say that Barcelona is one of my favourite places to visit. It really has everything. It's on the coast if you want to go to the beach. It has great nightlife, football if that's your thing. Yeah, it's got wonderful and unusual architecture, and of course what I was 100% there for this time, lots of galleries to visit. On this visit, me and my fiance, also an artist, visited 5 museums in one day. We then took a trip to the Dali Museum in Figueres and visited the La Sagrada Familia on our last day. I will discuss each gallery in order of visitation. You can't see it, but there's a little staircase next to me and Alfred is like climbing up and down it right now. It's very cute. Yep, so the first gallery we went to visit was the Jean Muir Museum, and this was the first stop on our gallery day. And what a great place it was to start. All the areas of the galleries were utilised for display, even the roof. One of the pieces on display was in situ in the middle of a shallow pool, and the visitors got to sit on deck chairs overlooking a view of Barcelona. It was very serene. What I also did appreciate was that they had a fantastic children's outreach program to make it more accessible for the little ones. There was a room that was full of like very colourful teddy bears just looking really fun and playful, which kind of like appealed to the kids but then didn't look too crafty at the same time. So yeah, like they really did a good job with that. The next museum I went on that trip was the National Museum of Art in Catalonia. This building was absolutely stunning with its domes and frescoes painted inside. It was a short walk down the hill from the Jean Muir Museum. With a full day of gallery visiting ahead, we opted just to visit the modern art upstairs, but really a whole day could have been spent there. It was unfortunate that the fountain outside was not in action, just due to the drought that was happening in Spain at the time, but this did not take away from the views from the gallery outside. Yep, highly recommend. After a lunch break, we visited the Moco Museum. We'd actually previously visited the Moco Museum a month before that in Amsterdam at the end of April, so we were quite keen to see how the Moco Museum in Barcelona compared, and we were not disappointed. Although the setting of Amsterdam was more welcoming, with it being a converted house which holds its own charm. They both kind of have refreshing exhibitions that allow the visitor to interact with the artwork, and they offer motivational quotes in each room for aspiring artists. So yeah, like just the overall feel, it's just bright, it's colourful. I absolutely loved it. When I was in Amsterdam, I couldn't resist buying this keep cup in Art We Trust. I kind of feel like perfect, complements my lifestyle perfectly. Yeah, so it's one of my new favourite cups. After that, we visited the Museo Picasso. Picasso has to be one of the most famous artists in the world, and this museum highlights all the periods of his artistic career from start to finish. I wouldn't say I was a fan of all of it, but there's some periods of his work that I do like. Hello, Alfred. It's back again. You want to say hello again? Hi. Oh, it's kicking me. Hi. Hello. You're so cute. Anyway, sorry. Yeah, as I was saying, yeah, there are some periods of his work that I do like. I have recently investigated his career further by watching documentaries such as Genius and listening to audiobooks, one by one of his muses, Francois Gillot. It was rather a poignant moment when I had my visit to the Picasso Museum. It kind of prompted me to wonder whether Francois Gillot was still alive and with us. It was when I returned to my hotel room that evening, I discovered she had passed away that day. Male dominance is still very prominent in the art world, and I find it an abuse of power and, quite frankly, abuse that Picasso used his artistic popularity to blacklist Gillot from gallery representation purely for the audacity of leaving him, as if it didn't have it hard enough. Gillot did move on from the shadow of Picasso, and her work is worth looking into. May she rest in peace. If you've not already read it, I highly recommend her book, Living with Picasso. Yep. Sorry, one of the things of working with animals, I don't know if you can hear all the running around, but Alfred's running through tunnels right now, so sorry if he's making a racket. Yeah, after that, we visited the Museum d'Art Moderno, or the Museum of European Modern Art. This was our last stop and our conclusion to such an intensive gallery day. Despite the quantity of galleries we visited that day, we did manage to spend a good amount of time in each site, and I never felt really rushed once. It helped that Barcelona art museums open at 10 a.m. and close at 8 p.m. The museums ranged in size and curation, that we didn't feel like overborne or depleted at any point, so that was nice. But this museum, coming back to Museum of European Modern Art, yeah, was like the perfect end to our day. It was quite understated. Like, it didn't really quite have the popularity of the Picasso that we had just left, so it was just kind of nice and homely inside. It featured beautiful modern and contemporary paintings that were like well complemented by the accompanying music that was in there. Slightly unusual to have music in the background of a gallery. I've never really felt that before, but yeah, it really just kind of created an overall zen and like a little bit of drama to like some of the paintings. Yeah, just a really nice atmosphere inside. And fun enough, when I got back from my trip, I actually emailed the museum and asked them if they would like share their playlist with me, and they very kindly sent it via Spotify. So it is now my favourite studio admin music. So yeah, on the next day after our 5 gallery day, we took a trip to Figueres to see the Dali Museum. And honestly, I thought I knew Dali's work until I went there, but now I know there is so much more to be investigated, so much talent, skill and madness to unpack, though some of it might be questionable and difficult to ascertain whether the questionability was deliberated eccentricity. This museum was a burnt out theatre bought, designed and rebuilt by Dali to house his artworks in the town that he was born and grew up in. Every corner and design of the museum inside was thought out and was deliberated by Dali. His artwork inside was made and curated by him. He's buried in the main hall as you enter, underneath a glass dome that represents the eye of a fly. From the place he is buried, you can view the tower of the cathedral where he was baptized. Yeah, like I said, very deliberated place, fully designed by a madman slash genius. Like, yeah, it's really fantastic, and I highly recommend it. Yeah, and then on our last day of our trip to Barcelona, we visited the La Sagrada Familia, and yeah, absolutely breathtaking inside. It was so surprisingly light, and the colours that came through the stained glass windows was so vibrant. It truly was a breath of fresh air. Like, the height and structure of the interior is phenomenal. It really does like feel like being inside a forest, with like tall trees, just how tall the beams were. Yeah, I cannot wait to see when it's finished. Won't be long now, although the world has opened up. There are many places that we're looking to visit and travel to first. But yeah, we definitely enjoyed our very artsy trip to Barcelona. Yay! So my latest project that I'm working on now that I'm back home, is Musselburgh Artists Open Studios. So I met up with a like-minded group of artists from Musselburgh, and we said that there was a bit of a miss that Musselburgh doesn't have this already, because there just seem to be like artist run events in surrounding towns, just not in Musselburgh itself. So we decided to make that happen. The first ever Musselburgh Artists Open Studios event will happen on the 19th and 20th of August, with the opening hours being 11 a.m. till 4 p.m. both days. Open studio events are a chance to meet with artists in their place of creating and talk about their practice, projects, get insight on how they motivate themselves, as well as seeing and getting the chance to buy some artwork. Hint, hint. I've attended open studios across the countries and always found them inspiring. Yeah, like the artists have been very generous with their advice in my art career, so that was always really appreciated. And yeah, it's good to know that you're on the right track sometimes, and the best advice is not to give up. So never really done that, so yay. Yeah, and I want to thank all the open studio organisers in my research for this event, for being so generous and helpful with their advice. It is really, yeah, it's went a long way, and we're making it happen, so yay. And hopefully we can build on this event and grow it organically and be as established and well run as the rest of them. So yeah, watch the space. So that means, yeah, on 19th and 20th of August, my studio will be somewhat tidier and, you know, ready for open and to view to visitors. So yeah, come along for that, hopefully. So yeah, that's pretty much what I'm going to be up to for the next couple of months. I'll be working on my little projects behind the scenes, and you'll be able to see that on the open studio day. I hope you've enjoyed this talk and I've not rambled too much at you, and you've enjoyed the little footsteps happening in the background. I will post the relevant links below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you next month, where I'll discuss what I'm working on and what you'll see in preparation for my open studio weekend. I will see you then, and bye bye for now. Thanks for listening.